What is happening, everybody? Thank you for joining us on IGN News Live. Joining me today, who I'm going to shout her name over the intro music, is Casey DeFreitas.
Hello.
How's it going,
Hello.
Casey? Matt Kim via Skype. How's it going, buddy?
Discord, actually.
Discord. Yeah, we keep using Skype as shorthand. Also, wash your hands, everybody. I brought this just in case, just to be pretty. Yep, here you go. Hey, Zach, how's it going over there?
What's up? I'm drinking a beer because the world is going to end, and who cares at this point? This is fine.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing over there?
Doing great now that I got my hands all sanitized.
Taking a hit of the good stuff,
My hands
huh?
are so dry from all
Matt,
the
you're in
hand
some
washing.
sort of like hermetically sealed
Put on too
safe
much.
tank, huh?
I've gone too far.
Yes,
wipe it on your
also
pants.
known as
No.
my house.
What'd you do? You duct tape your door frame, just make sure that everything was like good to go?
No, I'm just being cautious, you know?
Okay.
We can
Do you
never be
have
too
hand
safe.
sanitizer?
I have all the hand sanitizer in the world. I'm the reason
I
why
got
there's
you.
no hand sanitizer in the city.
How much did you pay for that, though?
I stole it.
On today's show, we're going to be talking about some E3 updates. We're going to talk about where Kylo Ren got his lightsaber. Casey and I are really excited about that. We're going to talk about the new Witcher game. There's a new Witcher thing happening.
Which is not The Witcher 4.
Not The Witcher 4, but it is a Witcher thing. And Xbox, Ubisoft, and WB, some stuff has come up about their plans for E3 with the E3 cancellation. So let's get right into it with that Witcher story.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you kind of took the wind right out of my sails by telling all the details about the Witcher story. Thanks for that. But no, so CD Projekt Red said this morning that a new Witcher game is soon to be in development. Once Cyberpunk 2077 is out in our hot little hands, they're going to dive back into the world of The Witcher. And I, for one, can't be more excited. The Witcher 3, one of my all-time favorite games. I think it's one of the best RPGs ever made, and I'm really stoked that they're dipping back into The Witcher well, and they're going to make another one. CD Projekt Red says that it will return with The Witcher after Cyberpunk is out the door, and the teams are still working on Cyberpunk multiplayer and DLC, while a smaller group is in pre-production on The Witcher, the next Witcher game. Not The Witcher 4, but definitely a new Witcher game. What do you guys want to see from The Witcher ?
I like that it's not going to be Witcher 4 personally.
Well,
they said Geralt's story has been wrapped up and they've told it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it'd be really cool to see a Witcher game that lets you customize your own Witcher, maybe prior to Geralt's story, where Witcher's more common, and to show some of the backstory of the world before we got to see it in the games.
Yeah.
You want to do a prequel?
A prequel.
Okay, that's cool.
I know
Well,
we got kind of a prequel-ish in the show, but maybe even before that.
Yeah. So
Way back.
I saw a lot of comments on this article today talking about like, oh, maybe we'll play as Vesemir or maybe we'll play as Ciri, and I think both of those are pretty cool options. Like, I wouldn't mind, depending on what you consider the canonical ending of The Witcher 3. I wouldn't mind playing a game as Ciri, and I wouldn't mind playing a game as Vesemir. He seems like a cool dude too.
What if you can play as one of the witches, since they're such an integral part of the series?
The Whomst?
The witches.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking that too, like being able to play a mage would be really cool. I mean, they seem extremely powerful and are able to do really cool things. So playing through one of their stories would be interesting, and maybe have some more political intrigue that would require you to do more kind of decision making, and how that would affect and build the world around your decisions.
So Matt, we actually got this quote. This quote is originally from Eurogamer Poland, and then IGN Poland reconfirmed it, right? Thank you for
Yes.
fake looking at me, by the way. I very much
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
I'm staring at my wall.
Yeah.
Is it nice?
Yeah, so
No, it's my wall.
how does that process work on the news team? Like, you get this quote, and we want to confirm it before we run our stories, right?
Yeah, one of the benefits of having a global operation is we have outlets all over the world who speak a lot of different languages. And one of the main problems these days is because some news stories are broken in foreign languages, and a lot of people tend to utilize Google Translate, which has gotten better, but is not accurate 100% of the time. Or I feel like Google Translate has maybe like a 50% success rate, which is why we can reach out to our foreign affiliates who speak the language natively, and they can confirm or deny things for us.
Comes in handy, I would
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah.
It's very good. For me, I don't really play The Witcher, Zach, so I'll just
What?
lend to you.
feel
I
like you're
played
really-
like the intro. I played the first few hours. I'm not into fantasy, but I am stoked for Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay, well, that's not the game that we're talking about right now. We're talking about The Witcher. So thank you for that. But yeah, The Witcher is one of the greatest fantasy games I think ever created. This like this trailer here, I'm not sure where this came from, but this must be on like the most plussed up PC because this looks amazing. It is a really good looking game. I want to talk to those of us that have played The Witcher. What do you want to see from a Witcher sequel or prequel? I think my number one request is kind of a revamped fighting system. I went back and finished Blood and Wine after the Witcher series came to Netflix, and I caught Witcher fever. But I went back and I was surprised how poorly that battle system had aged in 5 years. It's very floaty. You really only need like 2 of the magic spells. I only use Ken and the Igni, the fire spell. So what do you guys think about like what kind of changes do you want to see come to the series after they're done with Cyberpunk?
So I did start playing The Witcher 3 only, I think the first time I played it was actually only 2 years ago. So I had already played other games that had been more modernized as far as combat systems go, and I found it to be a little bit clunky and difficult to get used to. I did eventually get used to it, but I think it might be better just to, as you said, Zach, just to revamp it a little, modernize it a little bit more.
Matt?
I'd like something that would explore like the lore of the series, the broader stuff, like the historical wars between the nations and things like that. I don't even necessarily think you have to play as a Witcher, or maybe, you can play as someone with magic powers, but, something like that.
Yeah.
Sam over on YouTube chat says, I love the combat system, don't touch it. I'm gonna have to disagree, dude. Like, if they've worked on games as long as they have, and they're not going to implement that knowledge in a new Witcher, that's just doing you guys a disservice. So of course they should modernize the Witcher game with a new combat system, or at least improve
have a problem
upon
with the
it.
combat system.
Yeah.
Seems fine to me. I don't know. But
Give me like a Dark Souls sort of combat style. Like that's the other thing that I want is I feel like a lot of the contracts, like you can do high level contract monster hunts in The Witcher, and they're all kind of the same hunt. It's like, use your Witcher sense to track something down, and then like a very similar fight depending on like, if it's a ghost, you're gonna fight it this way. If it's a dragon or an ogre, you're gonna fight it this way. Like I would love to see some like super high level, really, really difficult, like Dark Souls boss level difficulty from some of those contracts, if that is to be the case. But like monster contracts are kind of what it means to be a Witcher. So yeah, I would assume that would be something that would be built in there as well.
So for me, one Cyberpunk 2077 note is that after initial release of Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red will have 2 larger teams working on Cyberpunk 2077's multiplayer and DLC respectively, with a smaller team beginning work on the Witcher game. So they're really thinking about how they can dedicate time appropriately to the Cyberpunk 2077 multiplayer project, while also developing the new Witcher product.
I wanted to shout out over here on YouTube. Mr. Tony Lowell says, I want the same roach physics as well. My man. Have you recently played that game? Because that horse is dumb as dirt. Like, especially after playing a game like Breath of the Wild or something, like, Roach just constantly runs into shit. He's just like,
that's part of his charm.
Yeah, that's a benefit of Roach.
He's a stupid horse, and I think
love our
he
stupid
could
horse.
be better. Yeah.
How dare you, Zach?
I don't know, man. I think it's fine.
There you go.
What do you think? Should we move on? Anybody else have
let's
any
do it.
closing thoughts on this Witcher news?
I guess I did want to ask you guys when you think we will actually be getting
Oh, God.
the game. So I know, the original Witcher took like 3 to 4 years. Well, the Witcher 3 took 3 to 4 years to create, and Cyberpunk 2077 is taking
Forever?
years.
2025.
Yeah, we won't see this game for another, Destin's right, 5 years at least. Yeah.
I mean, if it's small, like the what was the Gwent card game, the story mode version of that?
Thronebreaker.
Yeah.
That's right. Which was great, by the way.
Yeah, it was very good. Everyone should play that.
Zach, you know what I love? Disneyland.
Oh, wait, great segue, man. We got a couple Disneyland well, just this one, I guess. No surprise, like everything else in our world right now, Disneyland is closing due to COVID-19, the coronavirus. At the time of this the article was published earlier today, it was uncertain whether Disney World in Florida was to also close in response, but this is only the 4th time in Disneyland history that the park has been shut down. So kind of a big deal. Really only seems to be a situation that's shut down when the end times are near. So Disneyland is out of commission for the foreseeable future. And, Disney nerds everywhere are super bummed.
Do you think they'll give people money back if they're closed for longer than a month?
What do you mean, like season pass holders? Yeah, I mean, there's got to be some sort of like prorated refund happening, right?
It would be
Hopefully.
good business. So I think they are giving people at the resorts until Monday to find different housing, and I think they're keeping downtown Disney open. So they're not closing literally everything, but I guess the park is the main reason you're there.
Why would they keep one part of it open but shut down everything else? Like, this is also a really weird B-roll. I'm realizing now that this is just like a food package from Disney YouTube.
Delicious food we won't be able to
This
eat.
is what we got for B-roll, I guess.
Say braised shark roast? No.
Yeah, this is all the Star Wars food. Anyway, we'll pick some new B-roll. Let's get out of this. Sorry, everybody.
The reason they probably have closed down Disney California Adventure and Disneyland is because according to the CDC.gov website, there's more cases in Seattle and California than there are in Florida. In Florida, there's only 26 reported, but California actually and the Washington area are probably the highest.
Florida did just get its first confirmed Orlando case today. And have had a few confirmed cases in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. So one of the commenters that I wrote down in the run of show, he said, this must be serious if Disney is closing up shop. Yeah, dude, it is. It is serious. Wash your hands, everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I know that this is...
don't freak out, but be cautious.
Yeah.
Be calm.
I'm freaking out a little bit.
You know.
You kind of seem like you're freaking out a little bit to me. I'm freaking out a little bit myself. It seems like, obviously, this is news, games, and more, so we'll file this under the more portion, but it definitely seems like in the last 24 to 48 hours, this has really gone from something that is like, oh, we should keep an eye on that, to like, oh, shit, it's here. And, between this and we had Fast 9 pushed back till next year. We had Mulan pushed back. We had, there was another movie this morning, too, that got pushed back as well.
Mutants.
Yeah, New Mutants. Well,
There's also
show of hands, who didn't expect New Mutants to get pushed back yet again? I mean, that was kind of a no-brainer.
A Quiet Place 2 was pushed back.
Quiet Place 2, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah. So, like, this has got some serious ramifications, and your friend Diplomat88 is absolutely right. Like, this is very serious. It's a shame that it takes Disneyland closing down to signify that, but yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Pretty strange times that we're living in right now.
Yeah.
Did you guys read the California governor's statement when he initially announced that Disneyland would not be closing down?
No, what do you got for us, man?
Yeah,
He
Gavin.
essentially described Disneyland as its own like micronation, which is what his justification was for not shutting down Disneyland. It's like it'd be too complicated to shut down Disneyland.
Right, and that statement was this morning. He was like, yeah, it's a complicated and specific situation, and then like 5 hours later, it was like, no, just kidding, everything is closed. So, yeah, I mean, it's a real serious deal, and so if you're out there, if you're watching this, wash your hands, don't touch your face. Get a bunch of hand sanitizer. Apparently Matt has the market cornered in the Bay Area, so I guess come to him if you need it. Let's move on. In a related story, another event canceled from coronavirus concerns. That is the Electronic Entertainment Expo. We reported on this earlier this week when it was officially announced from the ESA that E3 would be shut down. And now we're starting to kind of get an idea of what everybody's contingency plan is going to be, what developers and publishers are looking at doing in the light of E3 being canceled. Let's go piece by piece, starting with Xbox.
What did Philly say?
Philly S, as he's known in these parts, Phil Spencer, he says that Xbox's digital event will be revealed in the coming weeks, and this new plan will be a way to celebrate the next generation of gaming with the Xbox community who love to play, as it's known. I think that we're not really surprised to see that Xbox is still in the game, still looking to do some sort of digital presentation here, right?
Yeah, we kind of went pretty heavy on this on yesterday's show with
good.
the whole crew over there. Well, no, not on the Xbox story. I'm personally really glad that Xbox is still moving forward with a digital-only event. I think that's still, safe, obviously, for people to consume, and we still get to, celebrate whatever Xbox has coming down the road. Casey, are you stoked?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sad that E3 isn't happening anymore. I mean, I liked going to the show, and I liked seeing all of the different displays that companies would have on, but I think a digital-only event would solve a lot of the issues. I mean, they already were planning on having marketing beats come out in June, and Nintendo's already been doing pre-recorded shows anyway, so they show that it can be done.
Yeah.
So maybe they will be following a Nintendo Direct style
So Nintendo is actually set up to do a direct, right? And they have their whole couch set where those two people play games all the time. I don't remember their names. Do you know?
No, but I know like.
Well, it's
Treehouse.
Nintendo
the two
Treehouse.
co-hosts,
It's
right?
not always the same two people.
Yeah, it's
Destin
always-
has face blindness. You have to forgive him. He assumes that everyone is the
They
same.
have two core hosts that play games together all the time.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
you're
their
thinking
names
Nintendo
of-
has only
off my head,
2
though.
employees.
You're thinking of Kit and Krista.
Yeah.
The Nintendo
Okay.
Treehouse Minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they
very
Nintendo
charming.
Treehouse, they rotate a lot of different people out through the course of E3. Nintendo actually had a statement as well. Nintendo says, "We'll continue to be flexible and redirect." Get it? Redirect our efforts into other ways of keeping our fans up to date about our activities and products. We are considering various ways to engage with our fans, and we'll have more to share as the year continues.
Good.
So, Nintendo, I feel like, is probably the most scot-free in this regard, right? Like, well, maybe scot-free is the wrong phrase. Like, I think that they're probably the most unfazed by this because they're already so used to having a more digital presence. Like, they've been doing directs at E3 for a very long time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they were kind of like the first. They were the first company to just.
Well, it's like
Traditionalize
so.
this and start
It was
doing it
funny,
regularly.
right? Because you introduced the show, you introduced Matt, and you were saying that he was calling in via Skype. And I think that we use Skype the same way that people use the phrase like sticky notes or Kleenex in that, like, oh, this is a way to telecommunicate, right? And we talk about the PlayStation and Xbox conferences as like, oh, what will the PlayStation Direct look like? What will the Xbox Direct look like? Because Nintendo sort of cornered the market on that early and made that their own thing, like in 2013. Like, they've been doing it for a while.
And they've really nailed the formula. Like, I think they do the best live to tape show that exists because Sony's tried to do it. Xbox is a little bit too long sometimes when they're really light on news. Yeah, I really like Nintendo's out of all of them the most.
Yeah.
You guys remember how people freaked out when Nintendo announced that they wouldn't physically be at E3, but or stop doing press conferences there?
Oh yeah, I was very upset when they first announced that, but then we saw what they put out instead, and it's like, oh, this is fine, this is okay.
What was your reaction to the first year?
I don't remember exactly how.
Casey
long.
was like 14 when that happened, so it's impossible.
I think
to
I
remember.
was.
Yeah.
So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh my God, I was in the war room when
No,
that-
if it was 2013, I was 12.
All right. Got it.
Math things.
Zach, what about Ubisoft? What are they doing? Did you? read that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Ubisoft also.
No,
a
wait,
similar-
I'm having years wrong. I was thinking 2003. I was 22. I'm not.
That sounds
I'm not-
closer.
that's much
That sounds more like
accurate.
math.
Casey has age blindness like Destin has face blindness. She doesn't know what age she is at any given moment.
Teens, 20s, it's kind of all the same thing.
It's all a rich tapestry. We understand. Ubisoft is exploring other options for a digital experience that will allow us to share all the exciting news we have planned. Stay tuned for more. So, is anybody catching some patterns in this? They're all very excited about a digital opportunity, and they'll be sharing more news soon. This leads me to believe that none of these companies really have a plan, thus far, and are pivoting from with the exception of maybe Nintendo. But I feel like there's probably a lot of pivoting happening now that E3 has been formally canceled.
So you're saying these companies that have been planning for a year to do some major showcase aren't just going to throw it all away? I am shocked, Zach.
Yeah,
I am absolutely shocked.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this obviously seems like the route that all companies are going to go. I think we're going to continue to hear this from more and more companies, if not by tomorrow, a little bit further down the road, because this is still able to happen in some respect.
I definitely wouldn't expect an actual announcement for anything concrete in the next week or so, because I know planning these things take a lot of effort and time and lots and lots and lots of meetings and shared Google Docs and et cetera, et cetera. So we'll definitely get something. I don't think they actually know what they're going to do yet.
I just want to point out that Joshua Suits is in chat on YouTube calling us nerds, and that's not an offensive term to us.
Yeah,
He's accurate.
So yeah, he's not wrong. One of the things that I think is most interesting about this news coming out of E3 cancellation is Kotaku's Jason Schreier is reporting that Warner Brothers was actually set to have their first press conference this year at E3. He says Warner Brothers Games was planning to do an E3 press conference this year for the first time to talk about games like Batman, Harry Potter, and Rocksteady's game, among others. Remains to be seen what they'll do now.
All those games are canceled now.
That's a real bummer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all over.
Yeah, that's a shame because I was really looking forward to the new Batman game.
No, it's done. It's dead.
I was really looking forward to that new Harry Potter game.
Yeah, Jesse Wade actually has a really good write-up on IGN.com right now, this website that, we're working for. Harry Potter RPG leaks rumors and what we know so far. She has a great breakdown about what you can expect. If you are a Harry Potter fan, be sure you go check that out.
Cool. Yeah. But, I was more looking forward to the Batman announcement, to be honest. I feel like Ubisoft Montreal, WB Montreal has been sort of kicking around a bunch of news around that, trying to skirt the idea that they've got a game, they want to announce it, but they just can't yet, maybe. Mm-hmm. And I was hoping that E3 would be the reveal here. We're looking at the Arkham Knight, the last game in the Batman series.
I was really looking forward to their social media play, Zach. As our social media guy, how have you enjoyed the one image every 3 weeks?
3 months.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like there's something that must be going on internally there that has sort of made them spread this this social media campaign out across 3 months, because it definitely seems like something like they maybe were going to do over the course of a few weeks, and then it's like, okay, now we don't know what this timeline looks like. We got to extend this. We got to stretch this, social media tease for a while. So yeah, it's pretty interesting what they've done, and kind of too much of a tease for me, if you ask me. Like, I would rather they just wait until they have something concrete to announce, rather than all this oh, is it Court of Owls? Is it this? Is it that? So.
Casey, what's been your favorite vaguely related to Batman image that they've teased this far? Is it the circle with other circles in it, or the thing that sort of looks like an owl?
So I really like animals, so kind of the owl silhouette really spoke to me.
Got it. What about you, Matt?
I like the circle that they released on Cop Day or something. I don't know.
I'm being spicy. Not my favorite marketing campaign ever. That's all I'm going to say about it. Zach, do you want to... What about the Jamil?
Jameli?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the other thing about this E3 story that we saw a lot is people continuing to be upset about Sony's lack of information. Jameli here on IGN says, "I'll tell you, I'm a big-time Sony pony, but I do really appreciate how Xbox is being very transparent with the public. The silent treatment on Sony's end is really starting to burn my ass." So, apologies to your ass. I hope that it gets better soon.
But also, can we talk about Sony Pony? Because I have never heard that before. Is that a real thing?
You haven't heard that?
No.
I like it.
Xbox fans call Sony fans that. If you say you like anything Sony, you get called a Sony Pony.
Sony Pony, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm a fan, actually. I really like that term.
Well,
It's wholesome.
that's my new favorite term.
Casey's unaware because she has console blindness. She just doesn't see consoles.
I don't. I have all of the consoles in my house hooked up at the same time. So.
Right. It's weird, right? Because at this point, Sony doesn't have to say anything. They can wait until the 11th hour until Microsoft has made all of their announcements, and then come in at the last second and say okay, great. Here's what our console is. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's our plan. No harm, no foul to them, with the exception of people being upset that they're not hearing anything about it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, do they need to do anything? Absolutely not. Do we really, really want them to say anything? Hell yeah, we do. Both we do here at IGN, and just anybody in the community is just really, really hoping to see more from Sony, because they keep hearing all this Xbox stuff, but literally Sony will say some weird tech spec about their hard drive, and that's the biggest story on IGN for the day.
I feel like Xbox is just putting Sony into a defensive position. They're just having, at this point, to reply to what Microsoft has already put out, and if it doesn't match up and isn't better, people are going to be upset, right?
I don't think so. I think Sony is just such a corner of the market that they can just remain silent and still be totally fine. I think Xbox is being smart, though, to your point, about being more transparent and open about what they're going to offer to their community, and how they don't care if you play on PC, or they don't care if you end up playing on the console, right? Mm-hmm. Do I think that puts Sony at a disadvantage? That's the point I would disagree on, though.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you, Matt?
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because the Xbox, when the previous generation was announced, the Xbox One did all their details first, and then Sony was able to counter each and every one of them and got the advantage that way. But it sounds it seems to me so far that Xbox has been very smart with the Series X. All of their features are things that people are interested in, and it'd be hard for Sony to find a negative unless they just, up the numbers. We have 13 teraflops instead of 12, right?
That's an insane number of teraflops. Nobody has ever seen that many teraflops in one place.
I mean, we have
can
that
see it on the
cardboard
PS5. Who knows?
Xbox Series 1X full.
It's right
of
over
at
there.
least- oh yeah, there's at least three flops in there, right?
Yeah, four.
Five flops, as said by Tom Marks.
Because it's paper.
Yeah, because it's paper and it's floppy. I'm sorry. I just had to redo the joke.
This joke doesn't work because nobody can see what you're talking about. This is a visual medium. Thank you.
Nailed it, Casey.
Good
Zach,
Lord.
I really like Legos. Do you like Legos?
You gotta stop stealing my segues, man. I'm bad at this. I've got them all set up, and you keep rushing the numbers here.
Sorry, man.
You know what this seat is about. I control the conversation. You just do your thing, all right? Look, Mario Legos. It's happening. We know it's happening. We got this tease a couple of days ago from Nintendo where they put out a little image of the Mario Lego guy, and now we know sort of, question mark, what this is. They put out a 50-something second teaser here, and it's got this like kind of deluxe edition minifig of Mario, and it looks like you can construct your own Mario levels, and this little mini guy will react according to the obstacles and coins and stuff that you've placed in his path, and also you can, jump on enemies and stuff like that. I think it looks pretty cool. What do you guys think about this guy?
I want it.
Oh, I'm so into it.
I watched this teaser multiple times, and my favorite detail that I noticed is that when you put Mario in front of Yoshi, a little heart comes up on his chest, and I thought that was really cute and charming. But no, I think this is really cool, and it looks like something I would love as a kid to be able to make my own Mario levels. But I also am unsure exactly how this works. Like, how do you gamify this set? And I know from what they've seen, they're showing us a level that some kids have built, and they say this is from multiple different sets. So, like, how much money will I have to spend to recreate what's happening in the commercial?
Oh, probably a lot.
I don't know. This looks like it could be one all-encompassing set. Like, we know that from a couple of leaks, we've seen SKUs that range from $3.99 all the way up to $99.99. So, like, I would imagine that $3.99 is just this Mario fig, or maybe one of the other minifigs, and then the $100 set is the whole, the whole shebang here that we're seeing.
I don't know. Mario looks pretty high tech.
Yeah.
What's with the timer on his chest? Is that like some mini game that you're actually playing?
Well,
within
I mean,
the
every
real
Mario
world
level
aspect?
has a time limit. Like, if you're playing a 2D Mario game, you've got to beat it in a certain amount of time.
Yeah, so I'm curious how that's going to actually play out in real life. Maybe there's dice that come with these characters. Do you know anything more about these sets that are going to come out, Casey?
So I got a little write-up here. A series of Lego sets, TBA how many and for how much, that will all interact with the central Mario character. They'll all have these activation tags that cause Mario to behave differently based on color type, so he'll greet friendly characters but want to attack enemies. Red blocks are lava, blue blocks are water, etc. You create Mario levels, and the goal is to collect as many coins while racing against the clock. Levels are modular, so bits can be added, removed, and swapped around in the end, and it's launching later this year.
I'm really excited to see how people can mod the Mario,
Oh.
I didn't even think about that.
Maybe they
It's
can,
devious.
maybe they can replace his eyes with infinite black holes that would just look horrifying.
They could change the voice. They could do. They will definitely hack the Mario. Let's just confirm
Oh,
that
that's
right
online.
now.
Someone had a Photoshop screenshot of someone running Doom on the Mario screen in the little box.
Yeah, let me try to bring that up here. Give me a full screen. Give me 1 second and I'll find that for you. But
Well, Zach's working on that. Ryan McCaffrey, he has a younger daughter, and he's like, I'm all in on this. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
awesome for kids. That's definitely the target market.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's a reason they have children playing with the Legos in the.
I want to play too, though.
But it could also be a really cool display item. Like, I can see
Oh,
people
yeah.
with space in their house, like not me,
Pear.
but space in their house, putting this on display. That's exactly who I was referencing.
Yeah.
But,
Found it.
Or maybe even here.
Pear's going to have it on his shelf and everything.
there he is.
Oh, the
Perfect.
classic Doom.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, this is sort of a play on the idea that like Doom is on everything, right? Mm-hmm. You can
Now
play
it's
Doom
on
just about
Mario's
anywhere,
chest.
including this tiny Mario boy, maybe.
and I'm sure somebody's done Skyrim already.
Oh yeah.
That's
Just
another
how
one.
small a screen can you play Skyrim on?
So as collectors, how many of us are going to get this thing? Are you
Oh,
going to get
God.
it, Casey?
Day one.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
hope someone brings it into the office so I can look at it and play with it for a little bit, and then feel satisfied enough to not need to go and purchase it because I don't have room in my house for anything else.
Yeah, you'll just look at it and be like, that is very nice, but
Yeah.
I live in San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly. Like I live vicariously through Pear's amiibo collection. Be like,
Yeah.
I have all of the amiibo at my hands, at my fingertips, right here. I don't need to own them.
Yeah.
I 100% expect this and my interest in this to go to the way of Labo, where like I'm there day one, I can't wait to get it. I like run out to the store, I track it down and buy it. I build it all. I play with it for like 2 days, and then it ends up like hanging out underneath my desk for the rest of the month. Like, yeah. I think it's really neat.
A more permanent physical space than, I mean, it's more permanent than a Labo, right? Because a Labo, I'm just worried is just gonna rot eventually, rot away and disappear. But a little Mario digital minifig you can just keep on your desk forever.
So Kinda Davis on YouTube said, F y'all for this clickbait. You're on YouTube. You can literally rewind the video and go back to where we talked about The Witcher if you're referencing the Witcher title story. So just do that, bro, friend.
Yeah.
You can travel back in time.
Yeah, just rewind the video. Go watch it. It's cool.
I think I'm more interested in just having the minifig itself. Like, well, I don't know. I guess this is maybe like a medium fig, but as a Nintendo fanboy, I am stupid enough to spend my money on all of their wacky endeavors, and so like at the very least I will buy Mario and maybe like a Shy Guy and like Bowser Jr. or something like that, just to have them on display on my desk, like I have a lot of Mario and Zelda amiibo.
I might get the Piranha Plant.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
I know you love Piranha Plant.
Oh God.
I do play Piranha Plant in Smash.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe get Piranha Plant.
Top tier.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but it's very good.
Underrated
But also-
fighter in Smash.
So Zach, you're gonna get all the Mario stuff. You're gonna get the Mario overalls. That they...
No, we talked about that on Tuesday. I think those look butt. I will not be picking.
How many teraflops do you think Mario has, Zach?
Oh, Mario's only got like 3, but Mario's not interested in teraflops. He does his own thing. Last thing that I want to say about this before we move on, why not Zelda? Like, why not a
Lego
Zelda kit? Like, maybe this is the first foray into this venture, but I think Zelda lends itself to Lego maybe more so than our friend Mario. I would pay top dollar for a Lego Zelda kit.
So in Jonathan Dornbush's full article about this, he said that this was years in the making. This set took a ton of back and forth between Lego and Nintendo and in-person meetings, and it took a very long time to come to this point to produce a product that envisioned correctly both Nintendo and Lego's ideals as companies. So maybe they needed to just focus on one and they just chose Mario first.
Yeah, I mean, Mario's a much more recognizable character, higher sales overall.
What about Metroid? Would Metroid work?
I mean, no. Metroid games don't sell. Like, Metroid is a great series, one of my all-time favorites, but Metroid games always undersell.
Really?
Yeah. One thing that I did want to point out here, Travis Hurst on YouTube says, imagine stepping on a Lego Piranha Plant.
See, I made the same joke, but with a Lego Bowser, because he's got the spiky shell.
Got the spiky shell. Yeah.
It didn't
bad
work as
time.
good. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so Yellow Plastic over on IGN.com says, I've not built a set in well over a decade, but Lego may be one of my favorite companies. This is such a cool concept. I know they say there are no plans to integrate with the console, but the Mario Maker potential crossover is compelling. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that there's not a in-game component to this as well. I think on NVC this week we sort of speculated that maybe this is a Lego Dimensions sort of situation, but this looks like its own standalone product. So.
And they're definitely not amiibo.
Yeah, seems like a missed opportunity.
What's your favorite sound effect in the trailer? I like the flag sound effect. I also don't know what else to talk about in relation to this story.
We're moving on. Just relax.
You said you want to do the segues.
Relax.
Segues.
Not every segment is about Destin. Sometimes other people have opinions about stuff.
That's true.
My favorite sound effect is the way they play the Mario theme song with the Lego clicks. It's very good. Okay, next story. There are those of us in the office that are reading a lot of the new Star Wars comic run, specifically the new Star Wars The Rise of Kylo Ren series. With the release of Star Wars The Rise of Kylo Ren #4 by writer Charles Soule and artist Will Sliney, we now have a complete origin story revealing how Ben Solo transformed into Kylo Ren with his signature crossguard lightsaber. This is kind of getting into spoiler territory. Jonathan Dornbush was supposed to be on the show today, but then he quit entirely, not even the show, he quit IGN because he didn't want to hear spoilers about this.
That's not true at all.
Destin, you seemed very excited about this, so why don't
I brought the crossguard off of your desk, Matt.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Hey.
You're not here to tell me no. So
Please
I brought it in.
After you're done.
So the crossguard in question, this is what it looks like in real life if you're, watching this on video form, like you probably should be. But anyway, this story was really cool. We both read it. We were pretty stoked about
And
the
I read
crossguard
it.
story.
Being totally honest, I don't know a lot about Star Wars. I don't know a ton about the Star Wars lore. I've seen some of the movies, but reading the recounting of Kylo Ren's backstory was very interesting regardless. So I definitely highly recommend reading that story if you're interested in Star Wars lore at all, because it was it was a really good retelling of the comic books that showed Kylo Ren's backstory.
Yeah, spoiler warning, this is like a major crossroads for the character, and it kind of talks about his first full turn to the dark side. Because
You become evil? What?
yeah, it's
No, honestly, that entire article is just spoilers for literally
Yeah.
everything Star Wars. So just, if you haven't seen all the movies and maybe don't want to be spoiled, I don't know why you wouldn't have seen the movies and are thinking about being spoiled, but you know what I'm trying to say.
yeah. So just mute us for like, I don't know, 3 minutes, Zach. How long do you think we're gonna go on?
I'll make this signal
I'll let you know.
again when we're done with
Okay,
spoilers.
how about this? You guys go off, talk about Star Wars as much
Got
as
it.
you want for 3 minutes, and then we'll come back here. So if you're worried about spoilers, go make yourself a sandwich or something for the next 3 minutes.
All right. So the cross guard, it was all about him getting his first meaningful kill, right?
A good death.
A good death, giving
I don't
somebody
know what-
a good death.
Yes.
And like he had already killed a bunch of people when he and Luke had the fight, before he went to join the Knights of Ren. I'm not a Star Wars guy. I'm doing my best here, everybody.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying to give you the news. Maybe we should just tell people to read the article.
Definitely read the article for sure. I really liked it.
What's that face, Matt?
This has inspired me to
Fair.
definitely read the
Fair.
comic book series, though, because it's representative of, as we all thought, his internal struggles between light and dark, and how he's trying to force himself to be pure evil, but he's just not quite there. And that's why basically his lightsaber is all going crazy. There's also some really cool stuff about his fight with Ren and how the good death actually results from that. And if you're not reading this comic book series, there's been some major revelations about the Star Wars franchise.
We've been having stories from this comic book series that have been revealing revelations about the Star Wars series for weeks. Seems like there's something new every week, and then
This was like number 5 on IGN
Yeah,
when I
and-
looked at the end of the day.
But some people don't totally agree with these revelations either, which I think is kind of interesting. But I don't. Yeah.
So that's basically it. It was a cool story. And Zach, I see you in chat.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking mad smack about you in chat, Destin.
I accept it.
Yeah,
You
that's
guys
fine.
Remember
Warranted.
when Kylo Ren's hilty lightsaber was first revealed, and people were mad because they're like, "Oh, it's dangerous. He's gonna hurt himself." But it was also very cool, and so who cared?
It was dangerous, and it actually turned out that the side parts that were like expanding out, he ended up using that to his advantage in fights, which I thought was actually kind of cool. I don't hate the new Star Wars movies as much as most people in this office do.
I don't think
Yeah.
most people in this office hate them.
I think the first two are very
I've heard a
good.
lot about 3. People don't like 3.
Oh yeah, the third one sucked.
Yeah.
It was bad.
I think the second one is probably the most one that I'm wishy-washy on. Going back and watching the episode, what was it? 7, right?
Yeah, Force
Yeah.
Awakens.
So episode 7, I actually think gets better with further watchings. 8 is the one I have the most challenges with, just because of the
Yeah, actually, I wanted to
whole
ask you a
waste of
question. I've heard you
casinos.
bring this up before about how you have like challenges with The Last Jedi, and I wanted to ask you, what's it like to be wrong all the time?
The whole casino scene is absolutely wasted.
Enough. We're not doing this. We're not
All
doing this. Let's talk about another fine Disney property, Spider-Man 3. Tom Holland, our favorite Hollywood busybody, let slip that Spider-Man 3 is coming, will be in production shortly. The actor confirmed to the Philippine Daily Inquirer that filming of the third MCU Spider-Man movie is set to begin in July 2020. He says, "I'm super happy about it. We'll be shooting Spider-Man 3 in July in Atlanta." He also described the story as absolutely insane and confirmed that Zendaya will return as MJ. What do you guys think about the MCU Spider films?
They're fantastic.
Yeah, I think they're great. They're some of my favorite MCU films.
I think
overall.
the Vulture casting has been my favorite casting. He is just like perfect for that role. And I don't remember how to say her name.
Zendaya.
Zendaya?
Zendaya.
Yeah, Zendaya's MJ was really great. Like she's really like I don't know, sarcastic in just a way that's really charming. And yeah, Tom Holland, of course, everybody loves Tom Holland.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
kind of wishy-washy on the second one, but I really liked how they handled Mysterio, whose power is like super weird to make menacing, and they really knocked it out of the park for that one.
Yeah, I'm
agree.
also kind of on the fence about the second one. I thought it was fine. Like in terms of like, I really loved the first one. I thought Homecoming was amazing and has one of my favorite twists in any movie period. But Yeah, the second one I thought was okay. I'm interested in the third one. I don't necessarily trust Tom Holland to say that the plot is absolutely insane, because I feel like he's the kind of guy that would say just about anything is insane.
He like leaks everything and
Yeah,
overhypes
it's like-
everything that he's in. He's just super stoked to be working in movies.
Yeah,
I mean, at this point,
Which is great.
they're choreographed, right? Like, he's not leaking anything anymore. He's just being told by the company that he can talk about this or that, right?
Well, I
Yeah,
feel like that's a
maybe.
bit of a conspiracy theory there, Matt Kim, but yeah, I mean, I guess to each their own.
Tom Holland, come on the show. Tell us yourself.
Tom, if you're out there watching, which I know you are, we welcome you right here on this new show. And, you could tell us all of the secrets about Spider-Man.
Tom Holland actually did really cool Final Fantasy 14 online commercials last year. I
Yeah.
highly recommend
Yeah.
everyone go watch those.
Yep, with Hannibal Buress.
Yeah. King Gargantuous over on Twitter says, well, if Tommy Boy himself says it's going to be good, then I simply cannot wait. And I would like to make a motion that we call him Tommy Boy from here on out. Anytime that we write about him, Tommy Boy. I think
In our
that's
official IGN
Okay.
news articles.
That'll catch on for sure.
Okay, so actually I did see a couple of things that I wanted to point out. First of all, he says that this is shooting in Atlanta in July, but we know that he's supposed to be gallivanting around the globe shooting Uncharted starting in June. So, like, how does that work out? Does one have a truncated schedule, or are they shooting only parts of Uncharted and then coming back to it later? Or, I'm confused as to, I don't know how a celebrity's movie schedule works, but I do think that timeline is very tight, for sure.
I would have to imagine it's like do a week here, do a week there. Maybe one, like you said, it is probably truncated shooting schedules. I can imagine it working as long as they bake in travel time. Yeah.
Tommy Boy is a professional. He can knock out movies in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. Our friend Rosemary Media is back and says, Tom Holland describes his bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch he ate this morning as insane.
I mean, I'd agree. My Cinnamon Toast Crunch for lunch was also insane.
Very good.
That's my favorite word to use in headlines. Don't tell
The other thing that I wanted to talk about, actually, Gaming Devil on IGN raised this. He said, Spider-Man's rogue gallery and the occasional anti-heroes he teams up with are that huge that it would almost benefit if we didn't have the MCU shenanigans of Happy and Samuel L. Jackson showing up in every film. I would rather they introduce Black Cat, Silver Sable, Kingpin, Norman Osborn, or some of the other great Spidey characters.
I'm down with Black Cat or Silver Sable, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that this is like the really interesting thing about Spider-Man. Spider-Man has a rogues gallery kind of like Batman, where he has so many cool adversaries and foes. I feel like Spider-Man, more so than most MCU heroes, can get away with like multiple films and create almost an MCU unto itself within the greater universe because of all these different villains. So I'm interested in seeing them pursue, some like deeper cut characters, some cooler villains. Like, we know that Venom 2 is in production. Maybe the Kingpin makes an appearance here.
Yeah, you know how the extended MCU stuff works, like the Netflix Daredevil series? Can those actors come back and play characters in this movie?
Well, so
I'm pretty sure they're non-canon now.
Yeah, so that's
a bummer.
The Netflix stuff, Daredevil, Luke Cage, those.
Jessica Jones.
Yeah, it was funny because like it only worked one way. Like those series could reference the MCU, but in the MCU, those characters like hardly existed at all, right? The Defenders, etc. However, the Disney Plus series are canon and will tie in directly to the films further down the line. So Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, those films will those series will have direct references to forthcoming films, and also the films will look back and reference stuff from those series. So it's all just a really excellent marketing ploy on Disney's part, I feel like.
Yeah, I just love that Daredevil on Netflix so much. It would have been cool to see those actors be able to return in the Spider-Man universe, but it sounds like that's just legally not going to happen.
They all got snapped away in Endgame, and they never came back. It was very weird.
Matt.
Very good. I like that one. That was all right. Let's move on to one of this year's biggest game releases, The Last of Us 2. Got some news. Again, Jason Schreier makes his second appearance on this show today. Jason is reporting on The Last of Us 2's delay, leading to more crunch. So one of the developers from Naughty Dog explains, people thinking that the extension is somehow to relieve stress or the workload on the team are wrong. The first thing that they wanted to reiterate is that we aren't slowing down the pace. Let's talk a little bit about crunch. Did anybody else kind of see this coming? I feel like this is sort of a known quantity at this point. Like, a delay doesn't necessarily mean a more friendly working environment. It just means that your game still has to ship. There just may be more to do, correct?
Yes.
Great. Moving on. No, please.
Well, I mean, we saw that. This happened with the Sonic movie too, right? Everyone's like, yeah, we did it. We changed Sonic. And you also and there's also a work environment now created where all of those animators are on hyper crunch to get the movie out. Did the movie end up being better? Yes. But I think something needs to be figured out with balancing those periods of crunch with the project managers, I guess it would largely be on, right? It's a really difficult fine line to walk.
Yeah,
I don't have the answers. It's tough.
No.
I'm sort of surprised that I don't know. I guess I'm sort of surprised at sort of the audience reaction to this. Like, I think that people maybe outside of our sphere think that extending or delaying a game means that it gives more time to work on the minutia of a game, when in actuality it likely means that it's less about polish and more about trying to get stuff finished on time. And that timeline is just, spread a little further, but it's the same amount of work, if not more so. Matt, I feel like you've done a lot of work in crunch. Can you talk to us a little bit about what your take is on this?
Yeah, I mean, crunch is a really common problem, especially in the AAA space for the video game industry, and it happens for a number of factors. Product management is super hard to plan out in video games. You never know if something just doesn't work, and so instead of spending like 1 week on this feature that was supposed to be done, you end up spending like 2 or 3 weeks, which pushes the whole project back. But you can't keep delaying games, right? That's just bad marketing.
Yeah, and we've seen this before. It's not the first time we've heard of a delay leading to a sustained crunch this year. Projekt Red publicly explained that developers would still have to crunch to some degree after Cyberpunk 2077 was delayed to September. So this is sort of a known quantity in the industry, and it's kind of a bummer. What I don't want to see or hear is this. Tron Swanson on IGN says, "Who cares? Real people working real jobs have to work their asses off all the goddamn time, not to mention loads of overtime. This isn't exclusive to the gaming industry, so let's stop crying about people who sit at computers all day and make anywhere from $40,000 to $90,000 a year having to work overtime. Work is work, my dude, and this is a bad take. I think that's a really terrible thing to compare apples to oranges here and say that one person's work is harder than the others.
Another practice in the games industry, which is contract labor.
Right.
Help that's brought in to assist the main team, but they're not a part of the salary team, right? So they're making much less than an annual salary to do as much work, if not more, without benefits. I covered NetherRealm Studios once and their crunch culture, and they rely heavily on contract labor, which forced an entire team, an art team, to work on minimum wage to finish games like Injustice 2.
Yeah, Travis Hurst has a couple of good takes over here on YouTube. He says, these people are making the games. These people making the games are busting their butts for fans like us, and they need breaks as well. And then I also wanted to point out Thomas Ferrone, who says, it seems that right now the crunch in games is universal. I'm waiting for that one studio to just push a game back like 2 years to avoid crunch and set a tone, which I think we're a long ways off from, to be honest.
And burnout is a real thing. So you might say, oh, crunch is fine for now, but I mean, just because you couldn't hit your 1 week deadline and it's pushed to 2, you're still trying to work to get that done as fast as possible, and you still might be putting in those 12-hour days every day to get it, because as Matt mentioned before, like, if you take extra on one thing, you have less time to do everything else. And it's mean, guys, to just expect everyone to work that much and think it's okay because some other people do it sometimes too.
Here's what
no one should be doing it.
Here's what Neil Druckmann said at the time of the delay. Creative director Neil Druckmann said that the delay was because the game was not yet Naughty Dog quality. He added, "While we're relieved that we won't have to compromise our vision, we're disappointed that we weren't able to avoid this exact situation. We wish we could have foreseen the amount of polish we needed, but the size and scope of this game got the better of us. We hate disappointing our fans, and for that, we're sorry." Matt, have you seen any companies working actively to at least try and avoid this crunch scenario at this point?
Not necessarily at the AAA level, at least not publicly. One thing that I thought was very unique was when Nintendo publicly announced that they were scrapping Metroid Prime 4 and starting over again with Retro Studios.
Still hurts, Matt. Still hurts.
Yeah, but that's not to say that whatever work is being done on Metroid Prime 4 right now doesn't have crunch, but I think it's very unique for a company to announce, hey, this big project isn't shaping up the way that we wanted to, and so we're starting again, which means that the planned release date is indefinite now, which I thought was a better way to handle that kind of situation than, announcing a small 3-month delay before launch and having, a reporting site say, hey, a lot of people suffered within those 3 months to get this done by May,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, it's a really hard topic to talk about because, some people are solo creators who just pour all of their whole life and resources into a project. But then it's just, I don't know how to answer this question. Like, how do AAA developers deal with this? No, they shouldn't be burning out their employees. They need to respect that. They still need to ship a game. It's so many things to consider. And I would hope, at the very least, that they're looking at ways to address this. I think Schreier, going back to him, has also talked about how BioWare internally took his article about Anthem and the problems with how that launched really to heart, and they began working in new ways to sort of solve for this problem. And I think that's about the only time I've ever heard of somebody actively trying to address this scenario that keeps coming up.
And I don't expect for crunch to ever be totally eliminated. I mean, sometimes it's going to come down to the wire and you're going to need to be put in those extra hours, and sometimes you're just extra passionate about this particular thing and you're going to want to work those 12 hours to get it done. But it shouldn't be such a common story that we're hearing now.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that it's a bummer, and this is a bummer story to read this morning. One thing that we're still debating whether or not it is a bummer is the Call of Duty Warzone Battle Royale mode out today.
No one's really playing it though, right, Zach?
I mean, that's not true. That's not true. It hit 6 million players in 24 hours.
In a day?
Yeah, which is more than
6
what
million players in a
Legends
day.
got.
Yeah.
Wow.
So for comparison, Apex Legends drew in 2.5 million players in its first 24 hours back in February 2019 and reached 10 million in its first 3 days. So, I mean, whatever's going on over there in Warzone, it's blowing other Battle Royales sort of out of the water. We're looking to add 200 players to Warzone before the end of the year. That's 40,000 full capacity Battle Royale matches if everyone played at once. This is insane. This is an absolutely crazy story. This is a runaway success for this mode in Call of Duty. Have you guys had an opportunity to play it, and what do you think?
I haven't played this one yet. I played some of the Battle Royale of a previous Call of Duty game, not last year, but the fall previous to that. I played that one quite a bit, and you can't really argue the quality of the Call of Duty Battle Royale. So I'm interested in playing this. I just haven't had the time this week.
So I did get to play it a few times. Did you get to play it, Matt?
I wasn't joking when I said I'm literally still downloading it. I'm downloading it on my PS4 right now.
Oh, God. Yeah. Okay, so I played it. I will say this. It's a departure from the Battle Royale version of Call of Duty that you played. It's definitely different than Apex or Fortnite or PUBG. It is its own sort of beast, and I do not feel like I have gotten a chance to learn the language of this particular Battle Royale. It's much lighter than the version that you played. Okay. There is an upgrade system where you can buy stuff, and then you can buy an airstrike and then call in an airstrike for kill streaks. If you die, you do get the second chance in the gulag, where you hop in and before you get to fight, you can throw rocks at the other players or just kind of box for killing time, basically. But then you go in and you 1v1 with a pistol and a grenade, and whoever wins gets to get back into the game with their teammate. Alternatively, even if you die there, your teammates can also revive you.
Okay.
It's 150 right now, and they are planning to expand it to 200 at a later date. I think it's pretty fun. I think I still need to learn it. I'm not great at it, and it took me a while to get used to Apex when Apex came out. It took me a while to get used to Fortnite when I was playing Fortnite a lot. And it took me a really long time to get good at PUBG because that was my first foray into PC gaming. I am excited by this, and I'm really, really happy that Call of Duty finally went free to play. The fact that you had to buy the game was really weird to me.
Yeah, it was a really big barrier to entry, and it was a reason why I fell off so quickly because I didn't have enough friends to play with.
Aww.
What?
Dang. That's sad.
Well,
He has no friend.
I had 3 people who had Call of Duty, and my usual pool of people to play with is 15. So it was a much smaller pool than I'm used to.
Yeah.
But
I talked about this a little bit on Tuesday's show. I'm not really much of a first-person shooter guy, but for some reason I have a weird affinity for Battle Royale games. I really want to try out new ones. I want to see what's different about them. I want to play this game but the download is so prohibitively large
Mm-hmm.
that it's really deterring me from giving it a shot. Like, I love that it's free. I think
How
it's
big
super
is it?
cool. It's huge. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but like, you have to download so
I
many
have, like-
assets from the main game that it's like a substantial download. And I just don't know if I have like the patience to do all that for something that I might play like 5 rounds of.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what I did at the office is I just turned it on and I didn't even play it the first day because I knew it would take so long. But even once you get in, Zach, then it's like, oh, you have to download all the shaders too.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. And so then that has finished. Then you can play Warzone.
Wow, we got a bunch of people on chat
Wow.
reporting that it's a 100 gigabyte download for
Yeah.
the Battle Royale
That's
mode.
For
bigger than
context,
Final Fantasy 14.
that's how big Destiny 2 is. Destiny 2
Yeah.
is like 100 gigs for the entire whole game.
I just want to say that both of you mentioning Final Fantasy 14 and Destiny 2 in sequence like that is very on brand for both of you, and I'm very proud of you for managing to weasel those 2 games into the show. Well done.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of the phenomenon where college campuses' internet slows down every time there's a new major Call of Duty update?
That
What?
is
I believe it.
hilarious.
Yeah, there are if you go online on social media, you can see people at various college campuses the day of or day after a major Call of Duty update comes down, and they'll be like, "Oh, there must internet slow at the library. Must be a new COD update." And
Yeah.
like there are letters from like campus IT that's like, "Hey, everybody, we know there's a new update out today. Maybe don't rush to download it, or else you'll crash the whole network."
Maybe they should just make the network better.
I do have to ask Chat. Chat, are you playing the new Call of Duty Battle Royale, and what do you think about it? We can go to those comments in just a second. I see somebody saying, are you talking about COD Warzone? Yes, we are. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, that brings me to actually, I was going to ask an important question. How come we don't have lower thirds to tell people what we're talking about on this show? Alexio, I'm looking at you.
We're working on it as we go, Zach.
I did want to ask everyone what they thought about it being crossplay with consoles and PC. I mean, are PC players just absolutely destroying console players? Like, is that a problem?
I got teamed up with a PS4 player on a few of my runs, and I was
you get
like,
mad at them?
You get like a little icon. No, they're fine, whatever. Destiny did a really good job of balancing the PC version of the game for controller players and for PC players. One of the things I noticed, though, right away when I hop in, I don't know if I got to go through my graphics settings or what, but it seriously looks like it's in 720p resolution. It looks like they've had to sacrifice some visual fidelity, maybe for that crossplay aspect.
How can that possibly be the case when that download is 100 gigabytes?
Well, because you're downloading the entirety of the game, because you need all of the assets, but in order for it to... I actually don't know the technical answer, but it has to be something along that route.
Thomas Ferrone in all caps says, I might download this and then play with the boys.
I don't see what their name is because it's at the top, but they said I love it and I really dislike Blackout. I don't know who that was.
Excellent. We got to wrap up. Is anybody going to be on the show tomorrow? Destin, Matt, Casey?
I think I'm like one of the only people left in the office,
Yeah,
so you're
not
stuck
me.
with the
Remains to be
internet.
seen. Well, if there's not an opportunity for us to be on the show tomorrow, why don't we go round robin real quick and talk about what we'll be playing this weekend?
Oh boy.
Yeah, starting with you, Casey. What are you playing this weekend?
I'm going to play, I started playing Smite again. So I'm going to be playing, don't shake your head at me, Zach.
Smite?
Yeah, I
Sorry.
started playing Smite again.
Busted.
And Rune Factory 4 Special on the Nintendo Switch.
How big is the Smite audience at this point? Does it still have a big following?
100 gigabytes.
Well, I do know they're coming out with a new Nemesis skin that looks like Monster Hunter armor. So, I mean, I'm interested in that, even though I don't play Nemesis at all. But that's fine.
Destin's playing Destiny 2. We know that. Matt Kim, what are you playing this weekend?
not what I'm
Yeah,
playing.
gonna download Warzone, and I might go back into Death Stranding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, seems...
That's cool. Why, are you having trouble sleeping, or?
No, just yeah. I think it's fine. I think it's a fine game. No, someone was like, "Hey, it's a really cool game to play, especially with all this like isolation stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, actually, you make a good point. I'm gonna go and finish it, maybe."
Certainly a different context now than it was when it came out in November, huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Destin, what are you really playing this weekend? I'm sorry I put the kibosh on you.
I'm not playing Destiny 2, Zach. I'm playing Season of the Worthy, an expansion to Destiny 2.
God, I'm sorry
Trials
that
of
I
Osiris
asked.
returns this weekend, and you can go 3v3. It's 7 games to win. Go flawless. Go to the lighthouse. I'll definitely be checking that out this weekend. In all seriousness, though, I can't stop thinking about Division 2 and playing that game.
I heard the expansion's very good.
I've been having a really good time with Division 2 Warzone. They had a dev commentary like about a week ago, or this week, where they actually talked about the end game and how it's not quite where they want it to be damage-wise, because right now you have to go strictly into a DPS build. And there, I filled enough time to end the show today.
Yeah, I'll be playing. I'm playing the Mega Man Zero Collection, which is the hardest Mega Man games ever made. I am a true gamer, so I'm beating those with no problems at all. Very powerful. And then also, I've been playing Vanquish since that came back to PlayStation 4, and that game
Good
rules.
game.
If you haven't played Vanquish, check it out. Destin, take us home. Let's get out of here.
Zach, thank you for joining us on the show today. Casey defeated us. Matt, we're going to figure out how to get you out of that television.
Free me.
Oh!
Get him out of there. We'll see you next time, everybody. I'm going to get Matt out of this TV.
Oh, stop.
Oh no, I'm afraid for that TV.